So we have been working on finding measurements for some polygons, rectangles, triangles, trapezoids, and parallelograms. And we're going to take what we know from those lessons and we're going to begin finding measurements of missing sides when we're dealing with an irregular shaped polygon or a complex shaped polygon. And what makes a polygon complex is when we can insert an imaginary line into the polygon that allows us to kind of imagine that this polygon is actually more than one shape. So when I look at this top shape on the screen, if I were to put in an imaginary line right here and finish off this rectangle, I end up with a rectangle here. I can kind of quickly scribble that in green. So this rectangle here. And I also end up with this rectangle here. So I'll kind of scribble this one in red. So I end up with two separate rectangles. Now, these shapes are actually just one shape altogether. So we're going to go ahead and mark those back out. I'm going to put that line back in, my imaginary line. Let's try that again. There we go. So I have this side here that I don't have a measurement for. And then I have this side, I have sides that match it that I do have measurements for. So I'm going to actually use what I know from other parts of this polygon in order to identify the side that I don't know. So we're going to do that work down here. So this is the side I'm going to be looking for. And in order to find that measurement, I'm going to use what I have. So I know from this shape here that, start looking at some of the sides that match up, that this side is 6 inches. And in my imaginary line, I can have a correlating side, a parallel side, that is also 6 inches. So that makes that side also 6 because it's correlating with the parallel side above it. I also know from this image that this entire side at the bottom, right here, is 14 inches. So from end to end, it is 14 inches, which means I can figure out the remaining length here simply by subtracting here to here, subtracting 14 minus 6. So when I look at that and I think, okay, if I have a total of 14 and part of that is 6 inches, 14 minus 6 is 8. So I know that this side here has to be 8. And if that is true, that means the side that it correlates with, its parallel side in this rectangle, is also 8. So I'm able to take what I have from one complex polygon and use that to find the measurement of sides that are not labeled. So we're going to look again at this shape down here at the bottom. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. And in this instance, we have two sides that are not labeled. We have an A and a B. Oh, I should have done that in a different color. Let's go ahead and do that there. I have side A and I have side B. And those are not labeled sides. So we're going to use the measurements from the rest of this polygon in order to figure that out. So we're going to first divide this into 3 rectangles. So I've got this imaginary line and this imaginary line. And so then I'm left with a rectangle here that is 5 inches on the bottom, a side we don't know, and then another side we don't know. This middle rectangle here that falls between these lines and then this rectangle on the end that is 1 inch in width. All right, so we're going to use these measurements to figure out the sides that I don't know. So let's start comparing parallel sides. I know that this bottom side here is, right here, is 5 inches. So that means from here to here is also 5 inches. I know that from here to here is 1 inch, so from here to here also has to be 1 inch. My total across the top is 9, but I already have 6 of those inches accounted for because I have the 5 plus the 1. And the 5 plus the 1 is 6. So that means the remaining section here has to be 3, because when I add 5 plus 3 plus 1, I get 9. Well, if this side is 3, then this side is also 3. So I can put a 3 there to show that my B equals 3. And we'll just write that over here off to the side. Oops. B equals 3. All right, so I've got one side figured out. So let's use the information I have to figure out the other sides. All right, I'm going to go ahead and erase the previous work on here so we can see a little bit better what I'm dealing with. So I have this side right here is 5, which means this side over here is also 5, which also means if I insert this invisible line here, from here to here would also be 5. But what I also know is that from here to here is 3 inches. So if from here to here is 3 inches, then from here to here would also have to be 3 inches. And if I draw in an invisible line down here, you see that I actually do make a rectangle right there. And that rectangle would be measuring 3 by 3. All right, so A equals 3. All right, so I know that can be kind of complicated to do on your own. Hopefully, when we went over that one at the bottom, you were able to fill in some of those measurements on your own and figure that out. But if not, don't give up. Keep trying. Remember, use some color if it helps you to mark lines that are parallel with each other. Remember the rules for rectangles, parallelograms, trapezoids, and triangles. That will help you identify the parts of a complex figure.